Welcome to Xtra, presented by VDG Sports. I am your host, Vince Douglas Gregory. No filter. Very censored. You can follow Xtra on Twitter at Xtra VDG. Be sure to follow Xtra on Twitter at Xtra VDG. Check out the website as well. That is xtra.vdgsports.com. Once again, that is xtra.vdgsports.com. Also, check out the YouTube, VDG Sports. Like, subscribe, share, do what it is you do there, and you can comment as well. This episode is not, I repeat, not being sponsored by VinceDouglasGregory.com. VinceDouglasGregory.com is where you can keep up with me, my whereabouts, my well-being, my social, everything in between, what I'm doing, what I'm not doing, what I'm thinking, what I'm not thinking, photos, audio, video, and episodes from here that are recorded and sponsored by VDG Sports or VinceDouglasGregory.com. I repeat, VinceDouglasGregory.com. Almost messed that up. Noobs, thank you for giving me the opportunity. I repeat, thank you for giving me an opportunity. That's all I can ask for. All I can ask for is you giving me a chance, you giving me a shot, you giving me an opportunity, and for whatever happens from that, it is what it is. It's Manny being Manny. All I can ask for is the chance. And if you're giving me a chance, let the chips fall where they may. It may go one way, it may go the other. Regardless, thank you for giving me the chance. Regs, we back at it again. Regs, we do what we do. Regs, this is like almost every day. It feels like every day, but it's not every day. And we got this special bond. We don't know what to call it. Please, somebody, come up with the words so we can call it something. But in the meantime, Regs, it's special. Non-verbal communicating peeps. That's just me giving a shout out to you. You're truly admired. You're truly admiring. Keep doing what you do. And I'm tipping my hat to you. You can't see it, but I'm tipping my hat to you. My imaginary hat, that is, because you know I don't have one on and you sense that already. Now, I did something a long time ago, and I brought it to the forefront. I told you, and that's the you plural, about this. You go back and check the historical documents. I kind of give you this. Well, I can't really give you a synopsis of it, but you can go back and check the historical documents. It's something that I did a long time ago, and it's definitely something that I can't say I wasn't proud of it. It was just alarming, to say the least. And that was that time that I was talking about where I was grilling, and me grilling was not actually me grilling. It was me baking something, but falling asleep because I was baking something, and it just created this dark cloud. And I was trying to basically run upstairs to inform everyone that it's okay, I'm grilling, even though I wasn't grilling, I was baking. Well, history repeats itself, so to speak. History repeated itself, sort of speak. I'm just gonna go ahead and come out with this. I'm just gonna go ahead and come out with this because I'm not embarrassed. I don't feel shame, but I am feeling grateful and lucky that the mechanisms that work, and my mind was my mindset was the way it was at the time. My mindset was the way it was at the time. And that was just me going off of intuition. That was just me going off a gut feeling. Anticipation didn't come up here, but I'm pretty sure anticipation would have came up. I would have listened to that as well. But after the event, and that's what I'm gonna call it right now, after the event, I started thinking about it, and I was saying to myself, that inner monologue, not out loud, the inner monologue, yeah, I probably should have grabbed some other things, or I probably should preparing myself for the time, if it ever happens, that what I'm gonna grab or what I'm gonna take or what I'm gonna do and what have you. Well, I'm just gonna give some free advice before I tell the tale. I'm gonna give some free advice before I really get started. I think it's appropriate. I think the free advice is appropriate, but regardless, it's free. And if you don't pay me no mind or no attention, it's good. I'm not going to cry myself at sleep tonight. I'm not going to wonder why it wasn't accepted or anything like that. I'm just gonna say okay and keep it moving. Okay and keep it moving. This may be known, but if it's known, I'm just gonna say I learned the hard way, because I learned that day. You probably should not try cooking if you're sleepy. In my previous encounter with something somewhat similar to this, I wasn't sleepy. I just had way too many adult beverages, and I just wanted to read the book behind my eyelids, because the book behind my eyelids, it was really good, and I didn't have to pay I didn't have to pay my respects to the porcelain goddess or anything like that. I just wanted to read the amazing, interesting book behind my eyelids, and it was good too. That book was some kind of good, but on the downside of that, it turned into grilling, and the grilling turned into a poof, and the poof is like smoke. Well, here's the free advice. You probably should not cook while you are sleepy. You probably shouldn't cook if you decide to read a book or a couple of books behind your eyelids or anything like that. You probably shouldn't do it. Learn from my faux pas. Learn from my mistake. And I don't even think that I was out that long, but I was out long enough for all the bells and whistles and the mechanisms to kick in and let me know that I need to go or do something ASAP. As soon as possible. I should say as soon as possible. I was tired. I was hungry too. I was hungry and tired. So I guess you can chalk this up and say how I gave previous advice about not going to buy food or anything when you're hungry. I'm not saying you shouldn't eat, but I'm just saying you probably should sort of avoid that or do it as less as possible if you are, because I get and I choose like all sorts of stuff that I probably shouldn't eat, all sorts of stuff that I normally wouldn't grab and eat, and it's just because the hunger has gotten to me and it's altered my brain chemicals, and I'm not thinking straight. Well, I can say the same thing about sleeping, those brain chemicals and cooking at the same time. It doesn't, or it didn't work for me. It didn't work for me this day. And I don't think it ever will work for me in the future. And this is definitely not something that I'm trying to or will test out. The theory, uh-uh, uh-uh. I'm not gonna formulate a hypothesis and make tests and do research on this to determine if it's correct or not. I'm just gonna say one time, that's all I need. One time, it doesn't work for me. One time, I'm good. How about I'll read about it. Somebody else can possibly try or do this, and I'm not suggesting you should, because this is free advice not to. But if somebody has already, you know what to do. You can reach out and tell me, reach out and touch, not physically, virtually. I decided that I was hungry. I decided that I was going to fight through my sleep and just go ahead and cook. Go ahead and get some food going. And this time, I wasn't grilling. I wasn't even baking. I was doing something a little bit more intense, a little bit more extreme, a little bit more out of character. I was frying. But I wasn't frying on high. So that probably saved me. I was frying on about medium high or medium, but for the sake of this, we're just gonna say medium high because that's what the package said to set the stove to medium high. So I'm gonna go with medium high. So I went ahead and put it on medium high, got it going or whatever. Then I go back into my room and I sit down in my extremely comfortable chair. And so I'm in my chair. And then next thing I know, I sit in my chair, and the next thing I know, I'm hearing bells, whistles, alarms. Doot, 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 doot. The first thing that came to mind was, it works. But that was the first thing that came to mind. My instincts and my intuition kicked in before the mind turned on, mind you, because I'm a gut feeling, intuition kind of guy. I'm a gut feeling and intuition kind of guy. Gut feeling and intuition didn't alarm me or let me know the decision, the choice that I was making wasn't a good choice to start off with, wasn't a good choice to begin with. It was just, it was there. It was there. Some kind of feeling was there, but I really couldn't determine what it was. And gut feeling and intuition was like minding its own business. And you know me, I will truth tell. But what I won't do is blame intuition and gut feeling for making a mistake or dropping the ball, because intuition and gut feeling has helped me out way more if it ever failed me. In fact, I can't really think of times where it failed me because they're calculating, doing so much data testing. That is my scientific method there. That is my scientific method there. It didn't warn me or didn't let me know that what I was doing was a bad idea. What I was doing was something that I probably shouldn't be doing, but that's okay. I'm fine with that, because if I wouldn't made this mistake, or if I wouldn't make this type of mistake, how would I ever learn? How would I ever learn if I didn't make this kind of mistake? I By me making this mistake, I can say I won't ever, ever, ever make it again. But how can you say you'll never make that mistake again? Things happen. Things happen. Well, just like noobs, you may not know this, but Regs, you know this. But this is a friendly reminder, Regs. I'm the same guy who made the promise to myself that I'll never run out of petrol again, that I'll never run out of fuel again. And so far, I've lived up to that promise. I've lived up to that expectation. All it took was one time. It happened one time. I took that walk of shame one time, and that was all it took. In that entire walk, I was saying to myself, this ain't ever, ever happen again. I don't want to ever feel this way again. I don't like it. I don't like it. I did not like it. Having people toot their horn at you, waving, laughing, hee and ha and all of the other things that took place. It hurt my feelings. I normally don't care about my feelings being hurt. But I think that hurt because I knew they were right. I knew they were right. Me trying to chance it, me taking that unnecessary risk when the car was letting me know, hey, moron, you need to feed me. Hey, moron, you're not gonna go anywhere else because I'm gonna lay it down right here and you know what to do to get me back up. It wasn't like that the car wasn't warning me. It wasn't like that I didn't see the lights. It wasn't like that I didn't understand the bells and whistles. It just, I took a bad risk. And those were the days where I just took risks to take risks. Now, I'm wiser and I take calculated risks. Now, I am wiser, so I take calculated risks. And that's how I can say that this won't happen again, because I made a promise to myself then about the petrol, about the fuel, and it hasn't happened. And I'm not going to promise that this won't happen. I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to leap that high, but I will say that it's not going to happen again. I tried cooking when I was tired, sleepy. Hey, you can insert or choose whatever word. I'm just the narrator. This is your adventure. I'm just the narrator. This is your adventure. So I turned the stove was on medium high. The stove was on medium high. I went back into my room and I sat down in my comfy chair. And the next thing I remember was hopping up out of my chair, making a dash. That flight or fright kicked in, and I must tell you, you long distance runner, your short distance game ain't got nothing on me when my fright kick in. Cause I didn't do the math on how many seconds it took because I was sort of busy at the time, but it was fast. I could have ran a marathon. Well, not a marathon. I could have ran a sprint for sure. Cause my point A to point B was something serious. I sat down in my chair. Then next thing I know, I'm hopping up and making a dash to the kitchen. Mind you, it seemed like I had just sat down in my comfy chair. And I didn't have time to think. My brain wasn't turned on. I wasn't thinking about what's happening, what should I do, where should I go, what is happening, what is going on. It was none of that. I hopped up and made a dash from A to B, and A was my comfy sofa and B was to the kitchen. B was to the kitchen. So I hopped up, made that dash to the kitchen. I grab the device that I was using to cook, and I took it off the stove. So I'm good there. I took it off the stove, turned the stove off, and I'm good. Then now, once again, I'm not thinking at all, but my intuition is still kicking in because I'm still in survival mode. At this point, I am still in survival mode. My senses are leveled up to the umpteenth degree. My awareness game is on point. So the next thing I do after I put that device down, I turned on my fans, opened up the windows, opened up the door, and got a little fan. Well, not a fan. I grabbed like paper. Well, I grabbed the first thing that was around, which was like a shirt, and I just started waving the shirt. And some of you who've never cooked before, and some of you who never experienced anything like this before, the reason I was doing that, or the reason why I had to open up the windows and turn the ceiling fan on and turn the fans on and do all of that stuff, because when you cooking and you're burning something, there's a cloud of smoke. There's a cloud of burnt smoke. And it's not the kind that you can just blow on and it goes away. It's the thick kind where you got to utilize all devices that you have to try to get it up out, because it's just not gonna poof, go away. Or probably the more important thing, the alarm ain't going off without that smoke, with that smoke still being around. That alarm is still going to go off with that smoke still being around. So if you got if your hearing ain't that good, you'll be fine, because that noise or that alarm is alarmingly annoying. That alarm is alarmingly annoying. And I don't know about you, there's only so much beep, 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 beep that I can tolerate before it put me in some kind of mood and have me feeling some kind of way. And that's why I had to air out the entire place and try to get this cloud away. Get this cloud gone. And all this happened without me thinking one bit. This was pure instinct, pure survival mode. And that's one of many things that I learned. My instincts are still on point. My anticipation didn't have to come into play, but I'm pretty sure if it would have been on point as well. My intuition, my gut feeling, they did what they had to do. Survival mode, it did what it had to do. Brain, I don't know where it was. I don't know where it was hanging out. I just don't know. But it's a good thing that it stayed wherever it was. Whether functioning or not, it's a good thing where it stayed wherever it was. Because after it was all said and done, after the smoke had cleared, and not the real smoke, but just kind of like a literary device, I should say. Like when all of the problems kind of cleared away, in that sense. But if you got it, you got it. I guess I can't explain everything, but if you got it, you got it. After all that, happened, and when the brain did turn on, one of the first thoughts that I had was, it's a good thing them alarms work. It's a good thing them alarms work. I guess the brain was good for something.